I remember being isolated in my room for days, weeks, and months, simply doing the same boring routine every single day. I generally had no friends, and it felt like my life was miserable. But I thought that if I could quit porn and masturbation, I would be able to achieve anything I put my mind to have a successful business, relationships with other people, to be more masculine, mature. I have a better physique, and I really crave an active social life since I never been this lonely in my entire life. And I came across this book that gave me high hopes. It basically told me that I could quit porn and masturbation, not just for a few months, but forever, and never even go back to it once. I read this book and I believed that it would solve everything. But I would read it once and then struggle again. So I would read it again. And I did that 4 times. I read the full book 4 times. But then I realized nothing actually changed. I was still in the same position. I made no progress when it comes to quitting porn and masturbation, and in my life in general. I feel very disappointed. With every single time I would go back to porn and masturbation, I would feel like the old version of me that was bullied, weak, not confident, emasculated, scared, and I hated that. Yes, I was able to go a few weeks or a few months without porn or masturbation, but I would always go back. And ladies and gentlemen, here's why the easy peasy method to quit porn doesn't work, and what you must actually read that allowed me to become free forever and not even feel the desire to go back to it, and that helped countless men that I've coached personally to break free from pornography, masturbation, and lust. So first thing first, EasyPeasy is actually derived from a book on how to quit smoking by Adam Carr called The Easy Way, which works extremely well when it comes to smoking and overall nicotine related products. And there are a multitude of factors for why it works well. But for porn, the biggest problem with applying that same mindset with smoking that there is to porn is that, first of all, smoking is actually something that goes inside of your body, meaning it can have real withdrawals. And by withdrawals, I mean toxicity that sometimes you need actual medical help for. But when it comes to porn, we don't have that. But when it comes to porn, that concept of withdrawals doesn't even apply. The second most important aspect is that smoking objectively tastes bad, and pretty much anyone that smoked before can attest to this. But when it comes to porn, the majority would report that they feel an immense amount of pleasure, meaning that it almost tastes good, which is the opposite of smoking. And the reasons for which people smoke compared to the reasons for which people watch porn are entirely different. So on the psychological level and the physiological level, they are both very distinct. EasyPeasy also does a huge mistake when it comes to applying the concept of recovery and the overall addiction ideology, which comes with a bunch of other concepts that can put limiting beliefs in the minds of the reader. For example, EasyPeasy promotes that porn is actually a drug addiction, not an habit, a drug addiction. But they also link pretty much no studies to prove that. And if you do a bit of research when it comes to porn addiction, there's a very powerful article that links up a bunch of studies around the subject of porn addiction. And that article is called The Emperor Who Has No Clothes, done in 2014. Shows that the overall consensus, the overall conclusion when it comes to porn addiction is that there's not much evidence yet. Even the DSM-5 classified porn and sex as activities that cannot be classified as an addiction, just like any other substance would. Now, the biggest problem with telling someone that they have a drug addiction is that most of the time they will adopt the concept of addiction to their self-image, meaning that now they will start seeing themselves as an addict. Now, if you understand how you act basically based on how you perceive yourself, so if you perceive yourself as someone who has a drug addiction and has withdrawals and has powerful urges and has a little monster inside of himself, isn't that going to make it harder to quit? Probably, right? Now, EasyPeasy also does a great job at really devaluating porn by simply eliminating the false beliefs around the benefits that people claim to be getting from porn. For example, concentration, stress relief, energy. And that's completely true. Porn cannot give you any of those benefits. But then the problem that we have is they attach the concept of, they also tell you that you have like a little monster that was created by this porn addiction that will create urges within you, and your goal is to kill him. But the problem is here that for most people, that creates a false internal battle that they need to fight this little monster or this big monster inside of their minds or inside of their body even, instead of owning that they actually want to watch porn and masturbate and really looking in depth into the reasons for why they want to do so. Because if you blame your desire, your urges to watch porn on a little monster, you're never going to take full responsibility, and as a byproduct, you're probably not going to be able to make a clear decision, and instead you're going to blame the little monster for taking over you and making you relapse. That's a big problem that happens. I'm not saying that the authors are trying to convey that message, but that's how many people interpret this. And then we have the concept of withdrawals. The concept of withdrawals can be very detrimental. Let me give you an example. There's this story by an expert called Alfred Linsmith, right? Where he explained that there was a doctor that had a patient that had to undergo surgery. And that patient told the doctor, please don't give me opiates, which are known as painkillers, which are known as a drug for killing your pain. Painkillers, basically. And she told the doctor, please don't give them to me because I used to be an opiate addict. And if I take it once again, I'm probably going to binge again and be addicted again. That's what she believed. So the doctor said, no worries, I will give you something else instead that doesn't contain any drugs. So they go through the surgery, and after a few hours, the patient wakes up in extreme pain because of the surgery, and she's panicking. And so the doctor starts to think about a solution to not give her opiates. So what does he do actually? He actually takes opiates, but in a liquid form, so she wouldn't know that it is opiates in the first place. And she gives the liquid form of opiates to the patient. Now the patient instantly feels relief from the physical pain of the surgery and feels better. And then the patient literally goes on to say, thank you for giving me painkillers that are not opiates. Thank you for doing that, because if I were to take opiates, I'd be addicted again. Simply from the fact that she didn't know there was opiates, she didn't feel any withdrawals because of that. And she just went on and lived a life as if she never took opiates. So it's very important that yes, you use your mind to your advantage, as EasyPeasy preaches, but don't use false concepts and concepts that can be detrimental and limiting to you, because it's only going to make it harder for you to quit. So what's the solution, Samir? There are 3 books I highly recommend you read right now that will change everything for you. The first book is The Cult of Pharmacology. This book goes in depth into explaining how different substances and problems were creating along the years, and helps you understand why addictions are purely mental and how to move on from them. This literally opened my eyes in so many different ways. The second book is not a book, but an article that I found on Reddit a long time ago that talks about moving on from masturbation, debunking masturbation. This was something, once I read EasyPeasy, that I really wanted to know more about, because it explained how to move on from masturbation by debunking the value attached to masturbation and the limiting beliefs attached to it. And then the third is going to be the Effortless Method Book, which is my book that has not been published yet, but I will, for this video, in the description, leave a section of the book which will help you tremendously in order to move on from porn, masturbation, and lust by debunking false ideologies, the perceived benefits, and much more. These 3 different books and articles will allow you to finally see the truth when it comes to porn and masturbation. And whenever you see the truth, and remember, this truth will always set you free. If you want to be coached by me one-on-one so that you can quit porn, masturbation, and lust forever within 14 to 28 days, then you can book a call with me down below, and I'll personally take the call to see if you qualify and see how you can personally be free forever from this. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.